Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Affirmation Addict podcast. This is Pyle, and today I have a really special guest. The special guest is actually my boyfriend, Tom, who is in the military, and I thought it would be really fun to bring him on and share his thoughts about all things spirituality, affirmations, visualization, law of attraction, and the way he used it in his military experience, because he's done some really amazing things. And so I thought it would be really cool for us to hear it from a different perspective than I normally talk about, more rugged, more manly. So I really thought it would be fun. And we had a really cool conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Hi everyone, my name is Pyle Agrawal, and I want to welcome you to the Affirmation Addict podcast. Affirmations have changed my life, and now it is my mission to help you use them to change yours by using affirmations every day to manifest things your way. My goal is to make affirmations attainable and accessible to every single person, including you, because you have the ability to take control and create your reality. So come with me on my journey and let's see what we can manifest together. Hi everyone, this is Pyle, and today it is a snow day in Washington. And as most of you know, Tom just got back from deployment, and we were just doing some work, and we decided it'd be really fun if both of us together did a podcast, because I've never brought him on, and he actually is someone who put so much effort and motivation and encouragement to get me to even start my journey of creating Affirmation Addict. And one of the reasons I fell in love with him was because he likes all of this stuff, and I know he's used it. And so I really wanted to bring him on, and he was feeling extra chatty today, so I wanted to bring him on so we could hear from like a guy's perspective and how he's used it in his military career, because the military is not easy as a girlfriend, but also for sure as a soldier. And I know he used it to get to where he is today. He's super successful in the military. He is an Army Ranger, so you go through a really tough selection, which I'm sure he'll talk more about. And so I know he used different techniques like affirmations, visualization, the power of your mind through some of the most impossible seeming things. And so I really wanted to bring him on to show how he used it throughout his career and his life. And yeah, we'll just talk. And if you guys like this, maybe we'll do another podcast together. But I hope you enjoy today's episode. So Tom, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So the first question I have for you is, obviously, you pushed me to do this. You really supported me in starting Affirmation Addict. So I want to hear just from your perspective, what's your take on law of attraction, affirmations? What is like your opinion on it?
So it comes, I've never really thought much into it. My mom, one of the only books that I've ever read though is The Secret. So I've used it, but I've never been like, I'm going to write down affirmations religiously every morning. It's kind of funny because my just not knowing, in the shower I would always close my eyes and I would envision what I want my future to be. Almost every day that was like a ritual for me, and I did that just not knowing, So I used a lot of this not knowing, And
then what happened like when you learned more about it? Like, did you start changing different things that you did, or did you just it kind of connected the dots for you?
Yeah, it just kind of connected the dots, and I just kind of added a couple more things and, did a little bit more, but really just amplified what I was doing, So the power of positive thinking can get you, a lot of places.
Yeah. And okay, so obviously you've used it, and I know for like things like Ranger School and RASP. So do you want to tell us more about how you have used these different types of techniques, and like what like circumstances were you under that made you use these techniques, and like how did those results show up? Like what manifested honestly for you?
Yeah, definitely. So just military in general is probably, 90% mental. When basic training, they break you down mentally and then they build you up stronger. That's their whole idea behind it.
How do they break you down?
So they kind of, it's probably not the best, but they shock you. They yell at you. They put you in environments that you've never been before. Or most people haven't been before. You're not used to having 3 people yelling in your face.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a little bit different now. The Army's changing. But, hey, I'm not going to get into that. But, yeah, no, it shocks you, and then you end up mentally becoming stronger because you're going to be put in the military. You're going to be put in more stressful situations. That's the idea behind it. And so you can handle those stressful situations, whether you're deployed or back home in the States,
Yeah. And okay, so how do you use visualization through, whether it was basic training, whether it was RASP, like what did you do, or like how did you get to where you are?
Yeah. So it's funny. Like I said, the shower was my was really where I did a lot of visualization, and so when you graduate, I'll go into this whole little spiel. Hopefully it doesn't bore you guys. But when you graduate basic training, you go to your job, whether it's infantry or your support MOS, and you do that training. And then you either go to your unit or you can go the path of to like a special operations unit, whether that's Rangers, SF, or whatnot. And I went to airborne school, so I became a paratrooper, and we jump out of planes, and like D-Day, we use those same tactics. So it's a 2 week. It's not too hard. It's a 2 week course, and you learn how to jump out of planes. So I was pretty, but it's physically demanding. You have to run.
And probably mentally, standing on the side of a giant ledge.
Yes, there's a lot of things, that are hard. They teach you, they make you stare out the door, if you're the first jumper, you're staring out into, space, and then you jump out when they tell you. But anyways, so I did that training, and I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and my roommate went to what they call RASP, Ranger Assessment and Selection, and he failed it 3 times, and he couldn't pass the last part. The 12-mile ruck march, and he went through the whole training, passed everything except for the very last thing. He did it 3 times, and it kind of devastated him, but he really inspired me. He believed in me that I could be better. So he was kind of like my driving force, and instilled it in me and really believed in me. So like every time I was showering, I'd be yelling out the Ranger Creed in the shower.
As if you were already a
Ranger. As if I was a Ranger. Yeah, they live by this creed. So, we.
Yes. You're a Ranger.
Yeah. So, anyways, but I would yell the creed in the shower, then I'd lay down in the tub, and I'd just envision myself, wearing the better equipment, deployed, doing cooler stuff, fast roping out of helicopters, what you guys see in movies, because that the Army portrays a lot of stuff, but it's pretty slow paced, and it's an everyday job when you really get down to it. It's a lot of work, but it's an everyday job. So I used it a lot, and it just drove me physically at the gym. He would instill it in me, and I got so confident I would instill it in myself, and it was almost like we pounded it, and he would help me physically, and we'd push each other physically, because I was also, helping him stay in shape.
Right.
And his career was progressing too, being in, the 82nd Airborne, being a paratrooper. So I ended up going to RASP, and it's kind of funny too. Like I re-enlisted for 3 years before going to RASP, And the Fort Bragg's not the best place to be. It's really hard work, very, very long days. You know, wake up at, you go to PT at 6 in the morning, you work out, and you work till about, the earliest you'll ever get off is 5 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
And you don't have like a set time. So you
Yeah.
work really late, long days, and you get weekends off, So it wasn't a place that I wanted to stay at. I wanted to progress through it.
Yeah.
So I re-enlisted, and if I would have failed RASP, I would have been stuck there for another 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So
did you re-enlist with like the intention of you're going to be a ranger?
Yeah, I was like, I know I'm going to be a ranger. I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to pass this training. Mm-hmm. And I went to RASP, and it was great. It was it lived up to my expectations. I was almost like, the harder it was, the funner it was for me, because I built it up in my mind so much that anything I can get through, and how hard it would possibly be, I could get through it. So the harder it was, it almost made me happier.
Right.
Like, this is gonna feel better when I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like the point of quitting never really crossed my mind. I wouldn't say it never crossed my mind. There was definitely some situations where, where you're not sleeping, and then, a couple days. And
I wanted to jump in and give people some insight from what I know about what RASP is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. So RASP it's what, like a 3-month selection process? It's
not 3 months. It is, so right now it is, oh man, I kind of forgot. It's been a couple years. But I think it's 8 weeks.
Okay, so
it could
8
be
weeks.
a week, give or take.
Yeah, so 7 to 9 weeks.
Yeah.
And basically you are training. It's a selection program from just being an Army soldier to becoming an Army Ranger, right? So that is basically special forces, the elite forces in the Army. And it's a really, really tough training, very tasking, very demanding. And you don't sleep very much. You don't eat real food. You are constantly like running around working, like, you do different types of tests, physical tests. They teach you different things you'll need to know as a ranger, but it's really demanding to kind of emulate like worst case scenario. If you ever had to go through that while deployed or something, to emulate some of the worst situations you could go through to make sure you can actually endure that.
Exactly.
And you're mentally enduring it and building teamwork with the guys you're around.
Yep, that's the idea. Just leadership, teamwork, and then doing land navigation while sleep deprived.
So that's like
if you can
walking
find
through the woods.
Yeah, if you can find a certain, they have like metal clackers that they put in the woods, and if you can find that, they'll be 1,000 meters apart. Maybe shorter. It's it all depends. So they're a certain distance apart, quite a ways, and you have to while being sleep deprived, find these points. And if you can do it while being sleep deprived and under stress and physically just exhausted because they're making you do push-ups, and you're not eating the most, then you can do it if you were like fed properly and on a good night's rest,
Yeah.
So that's the idea behind it, and they go through shooting and all the other military stuff.
And so through RASP, like we talked about, like the power of positivity. So you said like the difficulty, you weren't letting that like kind of bog you down.
Exactly. I would be lying if I said I wasn't positive all the time. You get those guys too that are negative Nancy's and bringing the mood down a bit. But for the most part, from what I've seen of the people that have passed, and the people that have passed, it's just they're positive, in some sort of way. You can pull positives out of anything. That's what I learned too. Like we might not have ate in 12 hours, but at least we're gonna eat soon.
Rather than dang, I haven't eaten for 12 hours.
Oh my gosh, I'm so starving. My feet hurt. It's raining and we have no rain gear and I'm wet. You could just be pulling every negative out of the sun, but you can also be like, hey, we're 3 days down and Coal Range only got 2 more to go. That's like the field that you do. So there you can always pull positives, and I've learned that on deployment too. And you got to find how you personally can pull pull positives out of everything. And but people almost make fun of me sometimes. I think I make Pyle mad sometimes because I'm like, why are you being like, just pull positives out of it? It's, on certain things that she gets frustrated. I'm like, there's so much positives. We're about to eat a great dinner in a little bit. And she's like, oh my gosh. Like,
Exactly. And I think that's one thing that he proves to me. And that's why I really wanted you guys to hear from his side. Like, going through some of the most, like, grueling situations, you're still able to find positivity and find, like, there's always two ways to look at a situation. And I think that, like, his successes and, like, the way he's excelled, a lot of that is the power of his self-talk and his actions. Like, he was already saying the Ranger Creed as if he was a Ranger. He was working himself. He took that action. He was staying fit in the gym. He had really great support, and he mentally supported himself, too.
I also, not to interrupt you, but
No,
I feel like that is huge. Like, you've got to surround yourself with people that help you, because just having that support and even, shout out to Cordell.
Yay, Cordell, we love you.
Yeah. He's still a great friend, one of my best friends. Just being able to have someone push you and help you and believe in you. Yeah. And I feel like, I kind of help Pyle with that.
Kind of. This is like, you're the reason why Affirmation Addict is what it is, because on my down days, on my doubtful days, like, that's natural. And I think that's what people forget, is it's natural to doubt yourself. It's natural to be scared or have negative self-talk. But when sometimes you can't help yourself right out of it right away, you have that support, you have that friend, you have that significant other, you have that parent, you have somebody who helps you and believes in you. And they believe in you because they've seen you believe in yourself, and they know what you're capable of.
Exactly. And that friend too might make you mad sometimes because he's so honest.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that friend that just tells you all the time, like, oh yeah, you're awesome, you're amazing, and maybe you need to work on some stuff. You gotta see through that too, I think.
Exactly.
And just find those people and really make the effort to spend time with that. And Pyle does that with me. She helps me out with everything. So,
Well, thank you. And I have, speaking about that, we weren't even planning on talking about this, but I think it's really powerful. So in the Army, I know there's a lot of different types of people. So how would you say, like, you deal with the different personalities? Like, maybe someone who isn't as positive, or maybe someone who focuses on the bad stuff rather than the good stuff. They might be a great person, but what do you do, like, in your day-to-day? Like, you work with a lot of people, you're managing a lot of people. How do you handle maybe the more negative people who might throw your vibe off? Like,
yeah, so it's really interesting because in the Army, especially in Ranger Battalion, the guys there, go through so much. They're usually a type A, alpha type of person, and they're really strong-willed. So it's kind of hard sometimes. You got a lot of guys that think they're, I don't want to say they're cocky, but they're very confident in themselves. You know what I mean?
Which is
and very
fair.
type A's.
Right.
So I do my best. I still don't. I'm still learning myself. Of how to help and semi-inspire. I would say it. I mean, and
more like
I'm
lead
still
by
learning.
example.
Exactly. Just helping where you can. When you become a certain rank in the Army, you become a facilitator, like a manager is a better word. So you're supposed to manage the soldiers. So when you become a sergeant, you're usually like a leader. You're definitely a leader. That's the whole point of it. And you're supposed to lead the men and show them do's and don'ts, how to do it and whatnot. But you're not supposed to technically, well, the idea is like you're not supposed to be in there with them. I like to get my hands dirty and help out as much as I can. If I have to be multiple places or whatnot, then I can't help them out. I have to trust them and make sure they get the task done that I give them. But I like to help out, and be hands on and show them that I care and I get my hands dirty too. And I enjoy like hard work. there's a hole to dig, that's fine. I like digging holes,
Yeah.
Hard work doesn't faze me. Just because you reach, I did my time as a, private or a specialist and then made it to a sergeant, just because I did that, and I became a certain rank. I'm not that high of a rank. I'm just a sergeant, but I still like to help the guys that are lower, out if that task needs to be done, and everybody else is sitting around instead of watching. I like to show them,
You're a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that goes a long way because that's showing that like your ego isn't leading you and you're able to take that action with them rather than just sit and watch. And just because you passed a certain point, you're not done working. Like you're willing to be a part of it, get your hands dirty with them and stuff too.
Yeah.
And do you know if any of the people you've worked with have practiced things like this? Like, have you guys talked about like affirmations or visualization?
It's pretty crazy. Got a good story for you guys, actually. Some of my, the people I work with are, good friends and stuff, and they get inspired they listen to Pyle's podcast, and they're, hey man, like, I listen to Pyle's podcast at the gym. It really helps me out, And one of my buddies actually used it when he was deployed. So, I mean, even though you're an alpha, Army Ranger, there's guys using affirmations. It works too, I also, I believe in, super, hard work, also pays off. So, affirmations plus hard work usually results in success. I'm not going to say all the time, but, it usually does. So,
yeah.
And that's helped me get to where I've got. And I've also had, fails in the Army too. Like, I went to Ranger school and failed that. That's another school, and I got injured during that school. It's a like a more advanced school that you go to once you become an Army Ranger, or in the Army. It's a real cherished school. And I went there and I got hurt, and that's something that really bugs me, and but there's a lot of good that came out from it too. Like, I was able that when I got home from that school, I would have been gone for a couple months, and that's when Pyle actually quit her job and started really ramping up on Affirmation Addict and doing that. And we kind of just teamed up and got a lot done, and I learned a lot about myself, and I think I grew more from that failure than I would have if I would have passed that school. So it's pretty crazy. Everything happens for a reason, and like I said,
it's all about working out.
Exactly.
And I think what I really like about that, like, I know for you that was a failure, and I know for you that's like really hard sometimes, but I think that's really good that you were still finding what's the benefit, what's the lesson, because sometimes it's really easy to be like, well, I failed, that's a failure, move on. But you're like, you know what, I noticed and I appreciate and I acknowledge like the good things that did come out of it. Like, there were so many things that worked out, like the day you got back, like the next day we went to that meeting.
Yeah, we went to a seminar and whatnot.
And we learned so much about business, and like that's how half of our business is run. And we did that, like, we just found that the next day he got back, and like we started right back up. And we wouldn't have been able to do that if he wasn't there, and we might not be here like the way we are if it wasn't for that seminar. And so I do think like that happened to show you that like your failures can grow and can teach you how to grow in ways that we wouldn't imagine. Because I know in the Army, like, it's such a big thing, like failure, and like it's so bad all the time, but I feel like it opened you up to a lighter version of it.
Yeah, and it's definitely, and also you deal with that coming back to all these, alpha males that see you, like, they see weakness. It's like a pack of dogs, you know what I mean? They're like, oh my gosh, you failed. And you gotta, almost get not their trust, but just regain, that you're still a good leader and good, just good at the Army, can help, and be a good teammate. Yeah. So that's all it is. It's being a team.
Exactly. And it's just, I just think it's interesting because like the school that you would have went to, like the main thing you would have received from a certification is like 1-inch little patch, right?
Yeah, it's a little tab. And
It's a little tab, and that's what's really, even like in today's world, like college, like people put so much like pressure onto different certifications. I am so like against that type of stuff. Like college degrees, like I have all of that, but like how much it's actually helping me, not that much, you know. And like I'm not saying that's bad, but it's just showing like the weight of such little things can change people's perspective, which I think was a really good lesson for both of us, and seeing like, hey, it's not all about that certification or that degree or just that outside validation. Like just because you didn't pass it that one time doesn't mean you're unable to pass it ever. You know, and like even for people in school or tests, like just because you failed a test doesn't mean that you're not smart enough. It just, that wasn't your time.
Yeah, and it could just be that it's teaching you to be more resilient and bounce back and study harder and pass that test the second time, and then you become stronger after that.
And yeah, I firmly believe like you have to like break down in order to break through. I don't think it's supposed to be all positive, easy, flowy all the time. I think that would be nice, but I think that polarity in whatever extreme it is what teaches us like how to go through things. Even for me, like doubting myself and then feeling that confidence, that's like a relationship and a journey, I think, that everybody goes through.
Exactly.
Respective.
No one ever goes through life unscathed,
Exactly.
Through a trial or a tribulation, You're gonna hit bumpy roads, you're gonna be sad, you're gonna have good days and bad days, and you just gotta work through all of them and try to do the best you can do through all of it.
Yeah. And one thing I want to mention is that Tom, I think, is the most like exemplary person who truly like wakes up every single day, is like, today's a new day and let's make this the best day ever. Like he is so good at living in the moment, that I think it's such a good example for all of us. So like, was there a situation that made you think that way, or was that something you've always done? Like where did that come from? Because that is something I've never seen before, and it's like always, it doesn't go away.
Yeah. No, I think it's one of those, it's just engraved in me, now that I just try to. But I think, being, I don't want to say being deployed, but just being in the Army in general and just knowing the what could happen and whatnot. Not so much that, how do I explain this? So the Army's helped me a lot. Just be grateful for every day, being deployed, seeing, good things and bad things, but also, seeing how fragile life is too, and how quick life can just be taken from you, and also, that's what I would say where I learned it from. Sorry about that, guys. It kind of took a little bit to get out, but yeah, I would say just seeing how quick, even if, you're at home or you're living in the States or whatnot, you could get in a car accident and, not to be negative or anything, but your life could end, You never know. You never know how many more days you have. So you got to make the most out of them, and just seeing that, and trying to make positives out of every moment, even deployed, that I can, That's what I try to do. But, there's definitely some days that I'm not like that. So
yeah,
not perfect. So
no, I love that. And I think it's really powerful. That's what it's taught me, being in a military relationship, like more to the relationship side for me. Like I hated distance. I never ever wanted to do distance.
Yeah.
This relationship was like the fundamentals of it was everything I didn't want in like the logistics perspective. Like I didn't want to be far away. I wanted to be with him all the time, and it tested me, and he like taught me
it's just
the
crazy. I don't
it.
get all that credit at all. I don't get all that credit. Like you definitely have helped me through so much, and just always being flexible. Her whole schedule basically depends on my day, which is crazy. I go to work and do, my work, but she bases her whole schedule off me to make time for us, And even when I was deployed, she would base her whole schedule off one phone call, And that's a lot to say about how she is as a human being. She's just giving and that's why I think she does so good with Affirmation Addict. Is she loves giving back to everybody she can, and this is how she can do it at scale. So
that was really sweet, babe.
All right,
so
we can't get too mushy here.
No, but I think I just think it's really powerful because I think your life will put you in situations to show you're able to do it. And I think with the military, and even for me, being a military girlfriend, it's put me through the situations I wanted least of. Probably attracted that because I thought so much about it. But also, it taught me that I'm capable of going through those situations. Thanks. Obviously, it's a two-way street. But, for you, too, Ranger School is probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to do and grasp. And I think it's really important to, realize that, I think the Army taught you your mental game is so strong. And it's the Army is it's not any special type of person. It's just someone who's mentally strong. Army Rangers, not anybody can be an Army Ranger, but you know what I'm trying to say? It just takes a lot of mental strength that everybody has. It's just not most people are willing to dedicate that time to it and push through it. But it really shows being an Army Ranger, you being an Army Ranger shows how possible it is for people to do so.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying.
Not discredit. It's very tough, but that's what it is.
I literally think anybody can become an Army Ranger. If you see it every day, you train hard for it every day for a year. Say you're crazy out of shape. If you train for a year and become, I like to say, you almost become obsessed with it, and it just that's what you see when you close your eyes and you sleep at night, and you see yourself as that. That's how I did it, I guess, unknowingly. I kind of manifested it. I read The Secret, and I used that. That was one of the few books. I'm not a book reader, but
You're more a book listener.
Yeah. I've gotten better, so audiobooks are what I'm using now. But it used to be no books.
Yeah, I feel you. I only started listening to books after that too.
Yeah.
But that's really what I wanted to touch on, and I just wanted to kind of bring him on because his story I think is really inspiring, and it was so inspiring for me to see the amount of things people can go through if you really just set your mind to it. The way you talk to yourself, the way you believe in your own self and the environment you're around, it really makes a difference, but you still have control. Whether you're in the worst situation, the scariest situation, you still have control and you're still able to do that. So that's really why I wanted to kind of bring you on, share your story, and thank you.
No, I appreciate it.
Again.
If anybody needs any help with anything, if there's, hopefully there's some guys out there listening to this, or even, whoever, if they need any help, they can reach out to Pyle, and she'll shoot you a phone number, and you can chat with me. I'll help you guys out. So,
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, babe.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, you guys have a great day, too.
Yes, have a great day, and just remember that your days are valuable. You're here for a reason. You have a purpose. You're living it out, and so just be grateful. I'm grateful for you. I know Tom was grateful for you. You guys have given us so much love. Oh yeah, speaking of which, you've given us so much love, with him coming back from deployment. So just thank you from both of us.
Yes, thanks guys.
Yeah, that meant a lot. So thank you so much for the love and support always, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Bye.
Bye.
That's all I have for you guys, and I just want to say thank you again for spending some time with me. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, head over to my social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to my website if you want to subscribe to my email list, which is affirmation-addict.com. I cannot wait to hear from you guys, and I will talk to you guys super soon. Have a good one, you guys. Bye.